Showtime is here, and no time to fear. Karel is so near because showtime is here. So on with the show, let's give it a go. Karel is the one that you need to know. Now it's showtime.
Do you know where you were 27 years ago today and what you were doing? I do, and it's not a good reason why. Also, this weekend was a very dark weekend for America, and we're going to try to bring some light to it right here on today's Karel Show. It is the Karel Show. I am Karel, so very glad you're joining me on April 20th. 420, baby. If you imbibe, today would be the day. Shout out to the Waldos if you're listening, or any of the remaining Waldos. Those were the group of students that would gather back at the Louis Pasteur statue every day at 420 to look for Louis' cannabis patch and get high. And that started the 420 phenomenon that we know and love today. And they don't make a dime off of that, by the way, which is just kind of terrible. But happy 420. I'm so glad you're with me. I'm sort of going to be all over the place today, and I apologize, but my mind is all over the place today. I don't even know what to start with because there's so much on the plate. So much on the plate. And, you know, it's rough. It was a rough weekend in America. It really, truly was. We had so much going on, good, bad, indifferent. And, you need a break from it. I do. I went to the NAB convention where the technology that powers this show and every show that you watch is on display. Met a very interesting man. I so wish I had interviewed him. He was a combat photographer, young, handsome combat photographer. Very interesting conversation. And he said when Trump took over, they were stranded. The program that funds this government combat photography, he's in the Air Force, Trump suspended it, and so they were like all over the world and didn't know what was going on. Another Trump, regime sort of thing. And so I tried to escape the world this weekend by doing that, but it was impossible to do. The reason I said 27 years ago today, do you remember what you were doing? I do. 27 years ago today, Andrew and I had just taken over Afternoon Drive, I believe. We were already in Afternoon Drive. But we were still relatively new to Afternoon Drive. And while the others that occupied that spot 27 years ago when I was 30-something, Andrew and I had never occupied an Afternoon Drive spot during a crisis. So we got to work. We got called in early. We had to go on at 1 instead of 3. And that's because right now, as we speak, 27 years ago today, Columbine happened. Right now, those 2 horrible students were going through and starting to kill their classmates. 27 years ago today. 1999. And it heralded in one of the worst eras of any country's history. And that is the era of the commonplace school shooting where no one does anything about it. Now, I thought of that this weekend because out of Shreveport, Louisiana, we had a deranged father kill 7 of his children, kill 8 people total, 7 children, ages 3 to 11 years old, shot, killed. And then the day after, the anniversary of Columbine. The number one cause of death for children in America under 18 is gun violence. And Columbine started that era. Now, what have we done to protect our children since that point? Well, drag queens can't read books to them. Trans people can be arrested for going into bathrooms with them. What else? What have we done to protect them other than that? No, that's it. That's it. That's been our big protection of the children since Columbine. Trans people in bathrooms, drag queens reading to them. Oh, and more religion in schools. That's been our big way to protect our children since Columbine. And of course, since Columbine, there's been Parkland, and there's been so many other, Santee. There's been so many others we can't even count. We literally cannot count. And what have we done to protect our children? Not let drag queens read to them. Make sure a trans person isn't in their bathroom.
If you're not visiting reallykarel.com daily, you're missing out. Get the podcast, videos, and the blog, including recipes at reallykarel.com. That's really KAREL.com.
Showtime is here, no time to fear. Karel is so near because showtime is here. So on with the show, let's give it a go. Karel is the one that you need to know.
And what does that show you? What does it show you that ever since Columbine, 27 years ago today, all we have done to protect our children is make sure drag queens can't read to them and that they don't encounter a trans person in a bathroom. Oh, and that there's more religion in their classroom. What else have we done? Have we outlawed handguns? Nope. Long rifles? Nope. Automatic weapons, military-grade weapons? Nope. Have we outlawed all guns? Nope. Have we made community schools smaller with smaller classrooms? Nope. What have we done to protect our children? Nothing. Now, my whole life, I've heard that part of my being gay is an abomination because of the children. I mustn't be around the children. You mustn't expose children to gayness. Oh, yeah, that's the other thing we've done to protect our children. Made sure Disney movies don't have any kind of gay imagery. So, since Columbine, 27 years ago, in order to protect our children, we've made sure that Pixar movies don't have too much gay in them, that drag queens can't read to children, and that they won't encounter any trans people in the bathrooms. That's what we've done. Period. We haven't prosecuted sex offenders who slept with underage 18-year-olds and under. No. We haven't done anything on the gun front. No. Nope. We've given them religion and anti-gay rhetoric. Because that's somehow supposed to protect our children. And that means that it was never about the children. That evangelicals, Christians, and Americans in general could give a flying frack about protecting children. Because the number one cause of death for children under the age of 18 is gun violence. And that statistic started today. Today, April 20th, 1999. We have had 27 years to fix the problem. And instead, we've accepted the problem. We haven't fixed it. We've accepted the fact that we send our children to a place every day where they could be killed. You know, I've been thinking a lot about acceptable risk. Friday, Andrew, he's on my mind. Friday, Ember has a dental cleaning and x-rays and examination of her mouth. She's already had her labs. She gets a full body x-ray prior to check the size of her heart, all of that. But I would be lying if I told you that it's the only thing I'm thinking about. That every time I look at her, I wonder if this is my last week with her because of something I'm going to put her through. Now, I know they need to do it. I know it's for her health. And while I do brush her teeth, there is some tartar on the back. I have been giving her famotidine, so her chewing is getting much less. So it might be gastrointestinal and something in her mouth. We don't know. She's still doing it, just much less. And so I'm scared. But given that we're having the blood work done, the x-ray done, given that the place that she goes to, they have one tech whose sole job is to watch her blood pressure and heart rate and all of that during the procedure while another person works on her, every precaution that is humanly possible to make sure she's okay has been done. So ask yourself, has every precaution to make sure children are completely safe from gun violence been done? Because that's what acceptable risk is about. Ember is never going to have another teeth cleaning after this Friday, and her vet agrees. She's going to be 11 in November. There is no reason to put a senior dog under for a tooth cleaning unless she gets a cavity or something goes very wrong. But just for a standard regular cleaning, this will be her last one. So, acceptable risk. Is it acceptable at 10 years old to take all the precautions you can and get your dog one final dental cleaning, and that way for the rest of her life, if I brush her teeth and stuff, it should all be good? Yes, that's an acceptable risk. Just like riding a motorcycle. But what acceptable risk is there sending your kids or grandkids to school when the schools have not done what I have done for Ember? In other words, if you want the dental cleaning to be as safe as you can, you have blood work drawn. You make sure there's a tech that monitors just the blood pressure. You leave them there for a couple hours afterwards because that's when they could bottom out. You take all the preliminary steps to make it as safe as you can for the thing that you love. Has the government taken all the necessary steps they can to make sure schools are safe for the people you love? To make sure malls or grocery stores or movie theaters are safe? No, they have not. What have they done? Stopped drag queens from reading to children, made sure your kid might not encounter a trans person in a bathroom, made sure that Disney doesn't put anti-gay or put gay imagery in a film, and that's about it. Do you see the difference? It is not an acceptable risk to send your kid to school. It's an unnecessary risk because the risk could be mitigated, and we don't. So it was never about the children. Evangelicals and Christians that scream it's for the conversion therapy. They say it's for the children. We don't want them to grow up and have horrible lives. We want to give them options. So they want to torture children to make them not gay. That's acceptable. But making sure those same students aren't shot in school, not acceptable. That's disgusting when you lay it out the way that I just did. That is disgusting. You know? And the answer is not for teachers to have guns. That's not the answer. The answer is not to have schoolrooms that can become little fortresses. That's not the answer. The answer is no more guns. And the notion that we cling to weapons whose sole purpose is to kill, that we cling to them, fight for them, would disrupt our country and our government for them. To hold on to weapons of death speaks everything about the United States as a culture. Everything. The fact that we would risk our children's lives on a daily basis just so someone can go down and purchase a weapon of death speaks everything about our culture. That just tells you all you need to know about American culture and what we really value. We value being discriminatory against gays and lesbians because we're quick to do that for the children. We value death. Many politicians have said out loud, if some children have to die in order for us to retain our right to a gun, then that's an acceptable risk. Politicians have said that. And on this day today, 27 years ago, I talked to a girl cowering under her desk who didn't know if she was going to live or die live on KFI radio. If you could have heard the terror in that girl's voice, you would have outlawed guns the very next day. If you could see the actual photos of the students that were killed, you'd outlaw guns the very next day. If you saw the images from Sandy Hook of eight-year-olds with half their skull missing, you'd outlaw guns. But we don't care about dead children. We never have. For 27 years, we have not cared about dead children or dead gays, the Pulse nightclub shooting. We don't care. Why? Because our right to a weapon of mass destruction is more important. Really? The same people that say drag queens are a danger to their children have no problem with AR-15s in the world? The same people that say if a trans person is in the bathroom that their kid uses, it could irreparably scar them in some way, are the same people that think it's cool to have handguns? Take Christmas cards and photos with all of your weapons? We're a disgusting culture. I'm getting very jaded about our culture. We're disgusting Americans. We are a disgusting culture. We value all the wrong things. We value money more than life. Look at what's going on in Iran. As we look back today, 27 years ago on Columbine, look what's currently going on. A president threatening to wipe out a civilization. A president going to a war of choice for Israel. Lying constantly about when and how it's going to end. The Strait of Hormuz opens and closes more than a Grindr app at a Turning Point USA convention. I mean, it is just ridiculous. And now today, closed again. Now today, tensions escalating. Now today, oil up 8%. Why? Because we don't value real leadership. Because Republicans and MAGA don't value America enough to put their hatred and their bigotry aside and do what's best for the country. Oh, they talk about it. There's many Republicans now talking about Trump's mental state. Stop frickin' talking. Do something. People die every day that we do nothing. And nobody cares. 150 kids killed by Donald Trump and his missiles. No one cares about those children. Just like no one cares about the children that are in danger every day at schools from gun violence, no one cares about the children that have been killed in Iran. And what about the Gazan children? What about the Gazan children that right now are starving to death, that don't have water, that don't have infrastructure or food because Benjamin Netanyahu wanted to commit genocide? What about them? What about those children? Don't those children count? The children of Gaza? The children of Lebanon? The children of Syria? The children of Iran? Don't they count? Don't we value them and their lives? It appears not. So this whole, it's for the children, is bullcrap. It's bullcrap. We underpay teachers. We underfund schools. We don't have the best state-of-the-art schools in the world. We don't have the highest paid and highest educated teachers in the world. Because we don't value our children. We don't value their lives. Because 27 years ago, today, we were given a warning. 27 years ago today, we were given a glimpse of the future, and we didn't heed it. We did nothing to stop the future where children were killed by guns than more than anything else. We did nothing to prevent it, except ban drag queens from reading books, take out gay references in Pixar movies, and make sure a trans person can't use the bathroom. That's wonderful. Isn't that just stellar? And so there we have it. And maybe I'm not in the best moods today. You know, the homeless issue in Nevada is out of control. And proof that no good deed goes unpunished is a guy that wears a turban at the park. And everybody hates him. And I went up to him and asked why. And he said, well, because a dog peed on my stuff and I don't have access to a laundromat, so I shooed it away forcefully, yelled at it, and now they all think I hate their dog. I'm like, oh, well, let me make peace. So I went around and told everybody, he's not bad. He's just homeless. He's a good guy. Let me tell you how that bit me in the ass yesterday.
Patreon is the way to show you care. Subscribe today if you dare. Keep the show on there. Patreon is the way. Now it's showtime.
So I got the park to not hate this guy in a turban that lives in the park. Says he's Jewish. Says he's homeless by choice. He's on some quest. And yesterday, I call him Mr. T because his name is Tyrone. Yesterday, or something with a T, Tyler, I don't know. Yesterday, I was walking past him with my friend Jeannie. Yesterday morning. Having left my condo and seen all kinds of homeless belongings right outside of our gate, which just poked at me. And none of the 375 units that live here saw fit to go out and clean it up. So later in the day, I cleaned it up. But I got to the park and walking with Jeannie. I see Mr. T, as I call him. I say, good morning, Mr. T. How are you? Well, I was fine. Oh, really? What's up? What happened? Gay people like you, they're immoral. The Bible says I should kill you, and I think I would. You're an abomination. You're evil. You're what's wrong with the world. You're a fucking faggot. You need to be killed. You should be killed. God should strike you down, or I should strike you down. And he kept yelling. I looked at him, I said, Mr. T, you're normally very nice. What's going on? You're what's going on. You're evil. You need to be killed. Jeannie's like, oh my God. I called 911. And you know what 911 did when they came out? Nothing. And you know why? Because I said hello to him. I initiated the contact. Had I not said hello to him, and he just started shouting that at me, then that's harassment. But since I said hello to him, there's nothing the police would do. They heard him. He started shouting the same death threats and shouts, and they left him there. So I looked at the cop and I said, so I always try to be on your side, but you're frickin' useless. Gorgeous, but useless. And he sighed and he goes, you know what? The park doesn't open till 6. My partner and I passed by here on our way to work. Tomorrow morning at 5:30, I'm going to stop. And if he's here, I will trespass him out of the park. I said, thanks. At least that's something. This morning I went and he wasn't there, which makes me believe the cops actually lived up to their bargain. But how would you like it if your day started with a homeless person that you've been trying to be nice to, that you have told other people to be kind to, that you've brought little snacks and treats, all of a sudden stands up and screams, you're an abomination. You're evil. You should die. But you see, he's not alone. That's the view of MAGA. That's how MAGA views gay people. They're trying to take away same-sex marriage. They're trying to put us back in the closet. They're trying to remove any positive gay imagery from any film or motion picture or TV shows, and it's working. Representation in media has gone backwards. Hollywood is right back to where it used to be, back in the celluloid closet. It's working at schools, where books are being banned, and teachers can't say that it's okay to be gay. Teachers can't counsel children, and now they want teachers to turn in people that they suspect are trans. So that shouting homeless man yesterday, screaming the obscenities at me, he is the fucking America that every gay person has to wake up in every single day. Just like every kid that wakes up has to deal with the cloud of Columbine 27 years ago. Kids that were not even born at the time have to live under the specter of Columbine because we refuse to strike these people down. And we refuse to do what needs to be done. Just like the GOP and MAGA refuse to put America first because they don't love America. They love hatred and bigotry and white supremacy. If they loved America, they'd kick Donald Trump out on his ass today. Today. But they don't love America. They love power. They love money. They love themselves. We have a madman who is waging an unending, unwinnable war that we have lost. We lost Iran. We lost it. There's a more far-right dictator. The Strait of Hormuz is still closed. And our gas prices today, they said they're not going down till 2027. We lost. He has embarrassed us, alienated our allies, and no one does a thing because they don't love our country and because they are part of this disgusting culture known as Americans. Yes, I'm tired, people. I'm tired. I'm starting this Monday tired. I am tired of that man shouting obscenities at me and nothing being done because that's how America feels. And you say, oh, Karel, not a majority of America. Then where are you protecting us? Where are our allies getting in the way? Where are the allies that are stopping conversion therapy? Where are the allies that are standing up for trans people? Where are the allies that are saying we will never outlaw same-sex marriage? Where are they? Remarkably silent. Where are the allies for the children that say we will not stop until we get every gun? Where are the allies? Where are the advocates for children that care more about them getting shot than they do them getting read to by a drag queen? Where are the allies for children that care more about them learning than dismantling the Department of Education, as Donald Trump is doing? Where are the allies for children that say keep your 10 commandments and your fictitious Christian God out of our classrooms? Where are they? I don't, where? Where are the allies that say Donald Trump is insane and must be removed now? Where? I don't even hear Cory Booker saying that. I hear Pete Buttigieg saying that. What a culture. And 27 years ago today, we saw where it was going. We did nothing. Just like right now, we see where it's going.
It's broadcasting from a completely different point of view. Yours. Listen daily to the Karel Cast on your favorite streaming service. You're listening to the Karel Cast. Driving you home or driving you crazy. It's broadcasting from a completely different point of view. Yours. Listen daily to the Karel Cast on your favorite streaming service. You're listening to the Karel Cast, driving you home or driving you crazy.
Now it's your time.
You know, I come out here every day and make brilliant points. I'm one of the best talk show hosts working. Period. End of story. I just am. I'm one of the most talented entertainers in the business. Fame has nothing to do with your talent. And it's always a schizophrenic existence. You see, I want to talk about Columbine. I was on air that day. It moved me. I know exactly how I felt. I feel it right now. The terror, the sadness, the overwhelming grief. I lived it. I had people at Columbine. Andrew and I had people at Columbine on our show. I don't know how Emiliano Limon, the producer, got their phone numbers. I'll never understand that. But we had kids at the school on our show. I heard shooting. I heard it live on the air on KFI. And when you hear that and you talk to those kids, it doesn't leave you. I was at Santee. I wrote about it in my first book. The editorial's called The View from Santee. We got there it just happens we were coming home from a weekend vacation and KFI called and said, "Are you near Santee? We know you were in San Diego." We were driving by the exit. They said, "There's a shooting going on right now. Go and we'll put you on live." We went against our better judgment, and we were on the campus as students were running out of the campus, not knowing where their friends were. Parents arriving on scene, not knowing if their kid was safe. We were there in the middle of that. It stays with you. It stays with you. And homophobia. That guy yesterday triggered the 63 years of hatred that America has heaped on me. Because it has. In radio, I've had to jump higher, run faster, perform better than my colleagues, who are far less talented than I, but make more money and get more listeners. Why? Because they're simply heterosexual white men. They don't have any more talent than me. Bill Handel is not more talented than I am. John and Ken couldn't tie my shoestrings. No one at KGO was more talented than I was. I deserved Bernie Ward's spot when he went to jail, but they wouldn't officially give it to me. Oh, they had me fill in for a year, but they wouldn't officially give it to me because Mickey Luckoff, the general manager of KGO, was the biggest homophobe around. There were separate rules for me at KGO. There were things I could and could not say that other hosts could do. I couldn't be on air before 6 o'clock at night because Mickey Luckoff said I was inappropriate for daytime. Yeah, you all don't know this. You all don't know that I was singled out and embarrassed for a prank at a Christmas party that everybody else did, but because I joined in, they flew me up on Christmas Eve so Mickey Luckoff could embarrass me in his office in front of everybody. And I could either quit, which he wanted, or take it because I wanted the job. And there were no protections under the law for me in 2002, 2004, 2006. There was nothing I could do. I had to take Mickey Luckoff's daily abuse at KGO. Every day, he had something new because he's a big fucking homophobe. Oh, I've got a gay friend. Yeah, your gay friend, Mickey Luckoff, who molested people on a yacht, allegedly, and wears sweaters around his neck and was one of the worst types of gays that there are, self-loathing ones. He had a gay friend like Richard Grinnell. his gay friend would work for Donald Trump. He had a self-loathing gay friend. That's life in America. Children die every day from gun violence. We don't ban guns. Gays and lesbians hurt or killed or discriminated against because of who they are, and we let it be.
If you're not visiting reallykarel.com daily, you're missing out. Get the podcast videos and the blog, including recipes, at reallykarel.com. That's really KAREL.com.
Showtime is here, no time to fear. Karel is so near because showtime is here. So on with the show, let's give it a go. Karel is the one that you need to know.
So now we have gas soaring again. We have Donald Trump again being the most incompetent president, his approval rating at an all-time low. It's like 31%. It's just more people believe in angels than approve of Donald Trump. In fact, double the people believe in angels than believe in Donald Trump. Yet, he still gets to have his gig. He still gets to be president, get a big fat check, and make all kinds of illegal graft money on Bitcoin and everything else, or his crypto and all of that. Yep. And yet this weekend, I went to NAB. I saw fabulous cameras. I saw sad things like robotic cameras that are just cameramen are going to be a thing of the past. Well, they almost already are. I saw equipment that I could use, and it's funny because I had a talk with my friend DJ Valentino Rose, Steve, about how I look at the equipment. Most everybody there at NAB, National Association of Broadcasters, are studios and executives and technicians. I'm there as a creative that loves technology, but not for technology's sake, but because of what it can do, what kind of tool it can be to help my artistry. I see those cameras and all I think about is making a movie. That's all. Streisand put that in me, and I mean that. Barbra Streisand said, if you're going to be an entertainer, you should learn everything around you. If you're in the recording studio, you should know what the board does. You should know about multi-tracking. You should know about effects. You should know about phrasing and breathing. You should know about the microphone and the type of microphone and what tones each microphone has. She taught me that if you want to be in television and film, you should know about the cameras and the lights and the temperatures of the lights and all of that, because it's all going to come together to make you either sound good or look good, or sound bad or look bad. Don't leave it to someone else. Be able to talk to the cinematographer about the rack shots and about the dolly shots and understand their language and know the tools that they are working with. Streisand taught me that at 14. So suddenly I fell in love with cameras and recording equipment because these were the tools of the trade. I hate these pop stars today that don't know shit. In radio, Joe Talbot, Tony Dinkle, many of the greatest engineers of radio knew that I had all the knowledge of an engineer. It's why they vouched for me at KGO so we could go to Ireland, because Mickey Luckoff wouldn't pay. He wouldn't allow an engineer to go with me to Ireland because he was just against me going, because no other host was going. Why should the gay guy go? So I learned how to set up a remote broadcast from Ireland with KGO. Every remote you've ever heard, I didn't have an engineer. The engineer was me. I knew how to work the Comrex machine. I knew how to hook up via ISDN or over IP. I knew how to wire in the microphones and the delays and all of that, how to get a guest situation. I knew all that and still do. Why? Because otherwise we couldn't have gone. So this weekend, I was looking at all these incredible toys. Cameras and lenses and lights. Oh, and green screen studios like the one I have here, except really incredible. Cameras up for wide shots and, just the most fabulous stuff at NAB. And then content creators are there. And I had to think about, why am I here? Do I want to be a production person or am I an artist? And as I walked around, it became very clear to me that I am an artist that also would like to run a production company, like many of them do. And it was so cool to be around so many creative people, network executives, camera people, photographers, cinematographers, audio engineers, radio people. It was so cool. I might go back this afternoon. That's how cool it was. And then I come home and there's homeless crap out front that I've got to deal with. I walk in the house and the headline is 8 children blown to shit in Shreveport, Louisiana. Then I turn on the news. Strait of Hormuz closed yet again. Donald Trump making veiled threats on Truth Social. And I think to myself, what a psychotic world, a schizophrenic world we live in. Where you can go and be happy, and it's like today, I woke up with the song Listen by Beyonce in my head. And then serendipitously online, I saw an old clip of Beyonce singing Listen at the premiere or the finale of The X Factor in 2008. And so the song that I woke up to in my head, Listen by Beyonce, there she was on my social media feed singing it. And it made me so happy. And I went to the park and I was singing it loud. Listen to a song here in my heart, a melody that starts, that won't complete. Oh, yes. I found the voice you think you gave to me. Yep. And then I get to the park, and I have to worry about, is that homophobe in here going to yell and scream that I should be killed? I have to worry, is Ember going to run and play, or is she going to be sick because of her mouth thing? We live in a schizophrenic society, a society that goes like this constantly. Good news, bad news, good news, bad news, good news, bad news. And I think we're the only culture. You know, their biggest problem in the UK today is that their prime minister had some employee that wasn't vetted properly, and he had to go down to Parliament and explain how he didn't know, and, you know, had he known, he would have never hired the guy and whatever. That's their big scandal of the day. Ours is a demented president waging war with a country that was of no threat to him. Now our bases in the region have suffered. Our allies in the region have suffered. Our energy infrastructure in the region have suffered. People as well as children have died. 13 American soldiers are dead. Hundreds more American soldiers are wounded. And you're paying $5 a gallon for gas. Meanwhile, grocery store prices have skyrocketed. Insurance prices have skyrocketed. Healthcare. My friend Steve needs a procedure. So he scheduled it. We were supposed to be tomorrow. Then he calls and tells me I can't have the procedure. I said, why? You need it. He said, because they say my copay is $6,900. I'm all, how could your copay for a procedure be that much? Then he went on United Healthcare's website and saw that while doctor visits and some procedures are covered, most procedures, it says most, you will have to pay your copay first, and then we'll pick up the rest. His copay is $7,000 a year. So if he wants to have, and he has insurance, his company where he works pays for medical insurance. Just like when his knee went out, his doctor ordered an x-ray, saw the x-ray, and wanted an MRI. United Healthcare wouldn't pay for the MRI. The doctor tried to order it again. They still said no. So he needs an MRI on his knee, can't get one because United Healthcare says no. He needs a procedure to remove something, but United Healthcare says if you want it, you got to pay $7,000. And that's legal and acceptable. And we just all deal with it and we moan about it and we groan about it. But just like gun violence in schools, we won't do shit about it. We know that every year people in this country die from not being able to access health care, even with insurance. Luigi shot the CEO of United Healthcare for this very reason. And what do we do about it? Do we enact universal health care like Mexico has so everybody could get? No, because we don't love Americans. All of these MAGA Americans that claim they want to put America first, where's universal health care? Oh, well, we can't afford that. You just spent $100 billion on a war. You're about to give Iran $20 billion to reopen the strait. But you want to tell me 84 hospitals in California might close this year because of Medicare cuts. 84. Hospitals are already overcrowded. You already can't get a bed. You have to wait in a hallway. And we're going to close 84. How much of that $100 billion could have saved those 84 hospitals? But we don't fucking care. No, let people suffer. Let them go bankrupt for medical bills. Let them not get care. Let them die. Just like kids in school. Let them die. So what that 27 years ago today, we were told that this was going to happen because Columbine unfolded right in front of our eyes. So what? Let them die. It's an acceptable risk to go to school. Death. We in America, we have made death an acceptable risk for going to school. Just like we have made death an acceptable risk of having health insurance. Wow. No, Hasselblad does not have a booth. Colonel Angus, my MAGA guy, if they did, I'd be camping out there. I'd be living at the Hasselblad booth. That's where I'd be. If any of you want to give me something before I die and you've got an extra $20K, please, a Hasselblad camera, digital. A digital 2.25 Hasselblad with a lens. I'll die a happy man. And why do I want that? Because when I was a kid, the greatest photographers in the world had one. And the images that it takes are unrivaled. Now, I don't do magazine shoots. It's what they use to shoot Vogue and Vanity Fair and all that. I don't do that. But I still want that camera. There are two things in my life. Do you have anything in your life that you wanted because when you were little, they were status symbols? A KitchenAid stand mixer. I now have that. That was a status symbol. All my friends had them in their kitchens and we didn't. So I grew up and got one. It meant I had arrived. I got one when I was at KFI. Andrew tricked me into buying it. He's all, Don Hobkirk has one of those. I'm like, oh. So I went and bought one while Andrew was taking a cooking class. And it's still functioning, by the way. That was one thing. A freezer in the garage. That was a status symbol. When we lived at Park Howard, I had one. Andrew wanted to buy Jeffrey Dahmer's, no lie. A camera, a Hasselblad. That is something that in my life I want because I wanted it when I was a photographer and could never afford it. And a Jeep. Because I had a Jeep and then E.J. Jackson blackmailed me into giving it to him. I used to sign all of E.J. Jackson's checks when I worked for Vesta Williams. I managed his whole company. I signed all of his checks. Well, he was a very mean person, and he abused Vesta. And I was always on the side of Vesta because I don't think men should abuse women, particularly their managers. So when they were fighting, he was always down on me. So he came back from a trip, and he went through his checks, and he found 4 that he said he hadn't authorized, even though he did authorize them. I had no proof he did. He told me on the phone, write a check to so-and-so, sign it, and send it to them. I did. He came back and said, no, I never authorized this. You've been committing fraud. So he had a lawyer call me, Dana Cook, and she said he won't prosecute you if you give him your Jeep. I looked at Andrew. I didn't know what to do. This is a guy that took hits out on people. He had a boyfriend that Vesta had once. He blew up the guy's car. He was a hood rat. I was scared of him. I didn't do anything wrong. I didn't have money for a lawyer to fight a fraud. I later found out it could have never been filed. A court would have never accepted it. That the fact that he gave me permission to sign one check meant I had permission to sign them all. And there was no way that a court would have ever prosecuted me. But I didn't know that. So I gave him my Jeep. Drove it up to LA and took a bus home. I've wanted a Jeep ever since. Anything like that for you? Anything in life that you just really want, even though you don't need it?
Patreon is the way to show you care. Subscribe today if you dare. Keep the show on there. Patreon is the way. Now it's showtime.
Wasn't Art Bell a drunk? Someone asked. Art Bell was a unique character. I only met him twice. He literally broadcasted from a bunker. He was insane. He was not a well man. But, he had a good shtick. He made a lot of money. People followed him. And then didn't his son take over for him? I think his son did take over for him. But you know what? Art Bell made a lot of money off of idiots. And God bless him. May he rest. May his memory be a blessing. I'm not going to speak out against Art Bell. I didn't listen to him, and I certainly didn't believe him. But for radio, he was a good thing. He made radio stations a lot of money. And then those radio stations could spend that money on people like me. So, you know what? Kisses to Art Bell. I was on the same station as Rush Limbaugh and Dr. Laura. Why? Because they made a shit ton of money for the station who could then pay us. So on this day of Columbine, and no one remembers. It's not like there's a national day of remembrance today for the Columbine shootings. I mean, the parents remember, certainly. That's why I talked about it. That's why I talked about that Americans talk a great talk. Oh, we protect the children. We love the children. But we don't. We don't. Oh, we love, there's a lady, Deborah, here. She says, I really don't care what you do in your adult bedroom. I like your commentary. Please don't stop. But that's not true. If America didn't care what I did in my adult bedroom, then there wouldn't be anti-gay laws. If America didn't care about what gay people do, then there wouldn't have been my whole life of fighting to try to get equality. DEI money wouldn't have been cut. Gay pride festivals wouldn't be folding because of lack of funds. America cares. I've never known why they care, but they care. I don't know why. But what should they care about? An out-of-control president. I haven't even checked the headlines in the last few minutes because every hour it changes. Oh, we're in Iran, we're not in Iran. Oh, we're winning, oh, we're not winning. Oh, the war is over, or the war is not over. Let's see. What's going on? The WrestleMania is here this weekend. So many fans everywhere. U.S. seizes Iran cargo ship. Oh, and the tariff refund portal is open. That's good. So businesses can try to get some money back. U.S. struck and seized Iranian-flagged ship in the Gulf of Oman. Iran vows retaliation. Yeah, this sounds like a ceasefire, doesn't it? This sounds like the war is winding down, doesn't it? Strait of Hormuz closed. This. Trump says Iran truce extension unlikely. Hormuz to stay blocked. Well, that sound, 8 children killed in Louisiana. Wonderful headlines. Aren't these great? Isn't this great? Oh, Lord. Completely out of touch. Trump torched for not knowing where everyday Americans shop. Yeah, he was asked about the corner store. A man that has lived in New York, dealt with bodegas his whole life, didn't know what they were. Didn't know what they were. Americans living abroad for lower cost now say returning home is just too expensive. Yep. Oh, Lord. But there is good out there. Kash Patel has filed a defamation lawsuit against The Atlantic for them saying he's a drunk. What Kash Patel doesn't realize is that by filing the lawsuit, he now opens himself up to discovery. So that's not going to be good for him because he's a drunk. So I don't think he was thinking when he launched the lawsuit, but The Atlantic wouldn't have printed it if they don't have proof. He's a drunk. They have people on record saying he's drunk in the FBI office. We have seen him drunk at the World Cup or the Olympics or wherever it was. Kash Patel, according to all reports and actions, is an alleged drunk. Own it, Kash. Go to rehab. You know, that's what a celebrity would do. They'd just go to rehab. Suddenly all would be forgiven. Of course, they wouldn't really quit drinking, but they'd go to rehab and come out and have a new career. Rehab is the career rejuvenator. You know, I came up with an idea for a magazine or a segment or whatever over the weekend called Enduring Icons. People like me, over 50, who are still out there doing their thing. Enduring icons. I can think of so many from music and radio and television and film and literature. Enduring icons. If I could raise a few $1 million, I'd spend my life doing that for a while. Doing a TV show called Enduring Icons, where I just interview actors, actresses, musicians, artists, and everything over 50. Because if you're over 50, did you hear The Guardian UK said that if you're over 40, you shouldn't go to music festivals? Or maybe they said 50. Can you imagine being told you can't go enjoy a music festival because of your age? The Guardian. Yes, people over 50 shouldn't be at music festivals. Why the fuck not? Madonna just performed at Coachella and she's 66. Hello? Hello? But I guess see, ageism. Isn't that weird? My whole life I've had to fight homophobia and now got to fight ageism. And yet, people that are 90 can be in the Senate or the Congress. Or people that are 80 can be the president, even though they're demented. Stop worrying about how old people going to music festivals are and start worrying about how old people running your fucking country are. I mean, maybe that's just me. You know? Oh, Karel, you're being ageist. Yeah, I am. We should have 0 80-year-old presidents. None. 0. 60s, 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, okay. 70s, pushing it. 80, no. Like, no. The same with Congress. 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, okay. But if the national retirement age is 67, then that's what it should be for Congress and the presidency as well. If you and I are told at 67, that's the time to retire, then that's when politicians should retire as well. 67. That's it. You're older than that, find another way to serve your country. So I have 4 years to become president. Oh, I am Karel. Be who you want to be, so I don't hurt anybody. We'll be back tomorrow, Tuesday. All day, every day, all I think about is Friday when Ember goes under anesthesia. So that's going to be on my mind all week long. I hope you have a great rest of your day. And I hope you stay safe so I can see you tomorrow. Yeah. By the way, I've lost 3 pounds.
It's broadcasting from a completely different point of view. Yours. Listen daily to the Karel Cast on your favorite streaming service. You're listening to the Karel Cast. Driving you home or driving you crazy. It's broadcasting from a completely different point of view. Yours. Listen daily to the Karel Cast on your favorite streaming service.